Hey, hi, hello. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and I am concerned. I am concerned. I don't know what is going on in the water of bookish convention spaces, but it's deeply tainted. I have two more to talk to you today, to talk about today. And one is more akin to A Million Lives. If you remember that one, I'll link that video. Not as bad, I don't think, but in that similar vein. But actually, I'm gonna talk about that one first because the second one I need to spend a lot more time on. Yeah, but the first one was called Once Upon a Con. I believe it was in Baltimore, but again, I'll correct myself if that's not right. That just happened this past weekend. I'm filming this on Monday, August 18th. So it just happened this past weekend. And I first saw, of course, I saw it on TikTok, and I saw one video, and of course that led to many others. But one person's video who had purchased VIP tickets, we're talking about the weekend. So I'm not going to spend too much time on A Million Lives because if you want to hear about that one, I'll link my other video and it's going to be in the description. But essentially that also took place in Baltimore, I'm pretty sure, a couple months ago, and they had promised all of these things. It was supposed to be, you know, multiple days of book signings, of panels, of cosplay, like all of this stuff organized that people paid money for, different tiers of tickets. And when they got there, it was a lot less than they expected and had paid for. And it seems similar vibes with Once Upon a Con, where this person is saying they bought VIP tickets, and of course that's supposed to have more perks than a general admission, and it starts off on the wrong foot with VIP attendees and general admission attendees getting in at the same time when they were supposed to be able to start earlier as a VIP ticket holder. Of course, they were supposed to have like a masquerade ball. I'm believing there's, you know, authors doing signings and panels, because they had all these different panels that were supposed to be from cosplay to other things, and people were going to the panels and no one was there. Apparently some of the panels just had to be canceled because no one was there to host it, and some of them were hosted or like did go through, but it's because like a person who was attending volunteered to take over the panel. And that's because a lot of the people who were supposed to be hosting these panels had been promised by the coordinators of this event, you know, that their hotel rooms were going to be comped. The image on the left says, "We are devastated to say we are packed up and leaving Once Upon a Con. We did our best to be professional, respectful, and patient, but enough is enough. I'm so sorry to anyone who hoped to see us, our costumes, or attend our panels and workshops." Then the one on the right says, "Hi friends, I have made the extremely hard decision to cancel my workshop and appearance at Once Upon a Con this weekend. I arrived at 1:30 p.m. yesterday to find out that my hotel room wasn't prepaid for and that I would have to put a card on file to be able to check in. I contacted the con chair and they said they would fix the issue. This was at 2 p.m. yesterday. This didn't just happen to me, but dozens of other guests, cast, and staff. By 10 p.m., many of us just decided to just pay for the first night with the hopes that it would get better in the morning. With no news this morning, I made the decision for myself to switch my flight and leave today. When I went to check out, they had to get a manager, and he told me that the Gaylord has been trying to reach the con chair all night and they have not been able to get a hold of them. Hearing this supported my decision to leave. Unfortunately for me, this means I'm out my sold out workshop fee and a night at the hotel, plus I'm just exhausted. I'm so sorry I had to make this decision, and for anyone that wanted to meet me and take my workshop, I'm heartbroken that I can't be there to fulfill that." This was at the Gaylord, I believe, which it was not cheap. And so some of them put down a card for the first night hoping that it would be rectified in the morning, and it wasn't. Or some just were like, I can't, you know, this wasn't part of the deal. I can't afford it, whichever way that went, and had to leave. And there was communication, I guess, in the Discord. So some people were posting in there like, hey, I came. I know I was supposed to do this thing. And they told me my hotel was going to be provided or paid for. I got here and that was not the case. What is going on with these people? Like, do people just think this is like a get rich quick scheme to throw a convention? Just tell people, make promises, and then you just like dip and you're like, just kidding, we're not doing any of that, and you're just gonna take the money from the attendees. Like, that's what this is seeming like. So a bunch of panels and things that didn't go through, and then I guess there finally was one. I think it might have been music, like a music performance, but there were no chairs, so they were all sitting on the floor. The masquerade ball is, again, it's in a big convention center, like a ballroom, but there was no decor.
Friday masquerade was not what was promised at all. There was zero decor, nothing. It was just the convention room. What kind of immersive fantasy experience has no decor? You couldn't even get a Party City balloon.
At least this one did seem like they had music that they didn't have to borrow a speaker from the security guard, but no decor. And I'm just like, what is going on? Swag bags were they late? They were either late and or just very whack. I saw a picture, and I could put it here, where there was really, it looked like all paper products. Like, none of it looked like a book or, a mug, anything that normally is like in a swag bag.
But there are apparently 2 loose tea bags.
And apparently they came with 2 doubloons. I just love that word. That you were supposed to be able to trade in for a free book from an author, and then the author at the end of the weekend is supposed to turn those in and be able to be compensated. I haven't seen yet at the time of filming any commentary from authors, only some from some attendees. So I don't know if they got their money or were compensated, or if they just got doubloons and good vibes. Like, what? What is going on? The first video I saw, they left early because she also had paid for a VIP ticket and an additional price for like this cafe experience. It was supposed to be like a Japanese cafe. They were supposed to have like food and drinks, games. She had Polaroids, and I don't know if that means they were supposed to be like Polaroid cameras on the tables and you got to take pictures. That's what I'm assuming. But they got there and were told to wait a few minutes, and then a few minutes they came back and were like, oh, we have no food, we don't have anything. And so she had, I don't know if she actually did go get a refund, because I think this was like $35 to pay for this additional event. And through talking to people in the Discord, some people, I guess they had different times you could book to go. This was her one time to go, because obviously she was trying to go to panels and different things. Some people in the Discord said they did get food, and some others said they didn't. And then there was a photo of what the food was, and there were no games, there was no Polaroids. Again, it just harkens back to A Million Lives, because what are y'all doing? You'd think renting out a massive convention space, having thousands of people, authors, readers, narrators, cosplayers, all come, promise some people to pay for this, promise these people this experience, and then you just like, don't? Is this not fraud? I don't know if that's fraud, scam, what? I do know that it is a scheme set up by Todd. It definitely is. But I'm just like, how does this keep happening?
Another thing I forgot to mention, there was like a bar crawl that we're supposed to have, including the hotel and local bars. They were all supposed to have like their own, fantasy inspired drink. So it was part of like the convention. And I guess the hotel itself didn't know that they were supposed to do that. So that was like maybe 2 out of the 5 that they didn't even get to like participate in. Like the bar crawl was lessened by those 2 drinks. I think it was supposed to be 5 total, because they said that this was happening. The hotel was not aware of it. So just another misstep.
Because it's not like these things, and of course I don't know about all of these things ahead of time, I just hear about them afterwards, but it's rare that these pop up and say, they're like, February, I'm throwing a bookish convention in 2 months. That would make more sense. You're like, wow, you're really cobbling something together last month, because you have to plan ahead. These are things that have been in the works for a year, 2 years, been talking about, advertising. So that's a real long con. I don't know how much money they're getting out of this. I just don't understand. Because at this point, I want to be naive and say that people just are like, I love books and these things and I want to get bookish people together, so I want to throw my own convention, and they're just out of their depths and don't know what they're doing. But I just don't think I can think that anymore at the rate of these hot mess express conventions, that now I'm like, this must be what they see just as a good way to make, I guess, a quick buck, even though it's not necessarily quick. But maybe they're like, okay, well, I'll just lay the groundwork now, and I'll get that money, and I won't make many plans, and then the thing will happen, everybody will be mad, but oh well, I'm already in the wind. I don't know. Any more information I have, I will add in here, but I don't know what's going on. And at this point, it's unfair. Again, I think I've said this before. It's unfair because I'm sure there are people out there who are trying their hardest to actually put on good events, and no event is going to be perfect, right? But it's just, this is so harmful to anybody who does want to try to do an event, because people are just going to become more distrustful of any new kind of event popping up. And I don't blame them, because you're spending money on tickets. Most people, if you don't live close, which a lot of people usually are driving or flying in, hotels, food, then you're also usually buying books there. Like, I don't know. Is there a correlation between the rise? Correlation does not equal causation. But so in my mind, I'm like, we've had the rise of book talk, which has brought a lot of people into the bookish space who weren't readers, which is a good thing. But now we also are having all of these conventions, fantasy balls, whatever, with a lot of people who are giving scam energy. So is it just you came in, you read some fairy book, and you were like, this is cool, I know a lot of people like these, I can make money off these fools? That's what it's feeling like. But again, I don't have statistics, I don't have numbers, correlation does not equal causation. It's just interesting to think about. So there's that. Now this other one I saw on the threads. Child, and this is terrible. So this was a bookish convention called Sinners and Stardust that was in Boston this past weekend, also August 15th to 17th. It says, where your darkest dreams become reality. So it says a dark and spicy romance book event. So I guess they do 2 a year? Because this says Boston for this year, but then they also have New Orleans for next March, and then Boston again next August. So Sinners and Stardust, a dark and spicy romance book event. I'm just looking at their tickets, and the lowest one, they have $150, then $295, and $395. Now this doesn't look like your normal fantasy bookish convention, because it is supposed to be like a dark, spicy, smutty kind of thing. So, you know, lots of more provocative looks, and I think they have, I don't know if they have hired cosplayers or whatever, but everybody, you know, is coming in some kind of getup. I don't know if you would all call them cosplay, but the first thing I saw about this on threads was that people were talking about sexual assault.
So again, just a warning, I'm going to be talking about sexual assault. I'm not going to be, you know, outlining any, there's no rape, but these are still inappropriate things of a sexual nature. So you've been warned.
And I was like, bar? And so the first thing I saw was Sinners was phenomenal, and I loved meeting everyone. However, can we please respect an author's boundaries? I was groped multiple times at the ball. I was dragged away from my friends, and no matter how many times I said no, my words did nothing. As soon as I left, I couldn't stop crying. Please, please respect boundaries and consent. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I hadn't heard about this before. And so, of course, you know, I had to do my research. So then I went to the Instagram because somebody else said something, because author H.D. Carlton had posted I think one of the saddest parts is a lot more was done and said to him, including someone fucking with his phone. He handed it to a few people to take pictures and restricting several authors' accounts on IG, including mine, Santana, and Bren's, along with literally dragging him around to take pictures and asking him what hotel he's staying in. He lied and said it was the same hotel as the event, but it was not, which is why the AirTag tracking him downtown and to his room was terrifying. And I'm like, bar? So then she posted, which linked to her Instagram, and it's a little lengthy, but I'm gonna read it to you, okay? All right, y'all, it appears I have to make a post that I'm frankly pretty goddamn upset I have to make. This post is for the readers who don't understand consent and boundaries only. A lot of you may know a good friend of mine, Animus, who is also Ethereal Treason. He has attended a signing of mine in the past and obviously is a music artist. This past weekend, he attended Cinders and Stardust and probably had one of the most heartbreaking experiences. So listen, he's a man, right? But do we think that means it's okay to put your hands all over him without consent? Or to put your hands in his waistband or down his pants or touch his dick? Hello? Do we think it's okay to quite literally back him into a corner and touch all over him to the point that he literally cannot tell how many hands are on him and whose are whose? Do we think it's okay to send him into an actual panic attack because of this? Furthermore, do we think it's okay to interrogate him and insist he detail how he kidnapped a woman despite him repeatedly saying he wouldn't and that, you know, that shit is fiction? Trash talk my books to him and try to get him to join in and then attempt to follow him when he tries to get the away. He had sweat-resistant black paint airbrushed on his chest and was told the only thing that will remove it is body oils. Why did this man in the night with almost all of it rubbed off and a handprint smeared across his chest? I want y'all seriously sit with yourselves and your actions and ask yourself if you would be okay with a strange man doing that to you. And if that wasn't bad enough, during the time of this mob, him and another author received a notification that an AirTag was tracking him, which showed it on his person all the way to his hotel room. He knows how AirTags work, and that close by ones can trigger notifications. This was not the case. Also, he got the notification way later because he had no signal at the event and it didn't come through until he got signal again. That is literally sickening, and I am ill that someone might have planted a tracking device on him. You guys do know that these books are fiction, right? We enjoy these because they're fiction. We do not condone these actions in real life, and while it's okay to act out your fantasies consensually with a trusted adult, it is not okay to ask a complete stranger to do so or take it upon yourself to sexually assault him. I'm so incredibly disappointed that he was treated this way. I brought him into this space because I trusted that he would be safe with y'all, and the fact that he wasn't is quite eye-opening. And boy, does this affect my decisions for my own future attendances, especially because he was not the only one disrespected at this event by a long shot. So many authors are coming out about people crossing boundaries in a multitude of ways. I've had to have this conversation before with asking my husband gross personal questions. So why are we taking it a step further and assaulting people now? I'm genuinely shocked that as a woman or woman presenting, some of y'all thought it was okay to act this way. And as someone who brought him into this space, I feel responsible for him. And I'm so fucking sad that some of my own readers were a part of this behavior. If this was you, please learn basic respect, boundaries, and how to ask for consent. Treat others the way you would want to be treated by a strange man. And for the love of God, please do not ever come near me in public. And then I have a picture of the body paint that was on him. That is actually insane behavior, because that we would call that out if a man did that to a woman, as we should, and we have to do it in the reverse. You're disgusting. The fuck is wrong with y'all? This is stuff like this people will use as evidence, as proof to why these books need to be banned. People don't need to be reading these. People shouldn't have access to this, because see, people do read these things and do try to act out their fantasies in real life. When most people do not do that, most people know that reading something does not mean you condone that thing in real life. Just like everybody reading mysteries and thrillers is not like, yes, I want to be a murderer. Everyone who reads dark romance is not out here trying to assault people, but you fucking weirdos are doing shit like this. Why? Someone else said, I did actually see many people casually, but quite sensually, like running their hands all over their chest, touching the masked cosplayers at the ball, and I was honestly concerned. They seemed to be playing along when it happened, but I grew up firmly believing you absolutely cannot touch performers. You can only look. I hope they're okay. I just don't even know, I'm gonna say, do y'all have home training? Do y'all have common sense? Do y'all have any common decency? But obviously the answer is no. Let me go ahead and answer my own question. Someone else said, y'all did that shit to Animus, and one of y'all asked my husband to do weird shit in the 5 minutes I was away from him at the ball, which I'm not disclosing for my husband's privacy, and I left halfway through the ball. I can't imagine what else people did that hasn't even been brought up, but I'm so fucking angry. To be clear, this is not to take away from what happened to Animus. This is to say y'all showed your motherfucking asses. And I'm so upset for my husband, for Animus, and for anyone else who endured the things they should not have had to endure. To think that you grown ass adults go to a place with other grown ass adults. Yes, it's supposed to be flirt, you know, like spicy, sexy, whatever. Y'all want to read about these things and act it out in real life. You can do that if you find the right community. Find your kink space and seek that out in real life if you want to do stuff like that. I'm sure you can find places where there's something and maybe everybody has agreed to consent, non-consent, you know, like, or, you know, borderline, non-consensual, groping, whatever. This is not to kink shame, because that was not the place for y'all to be doing those things. This was a convention, yes, for the grown and sexy, I guess, but that doesn't mean you just get to touch people and grope people or ask them invasive fucking questions. You know what? And nobody has said what people ask, and I'm glad, because I just know from the weird shit some of you bitches write under TikTok videos. I don't even want to know what y'all would ask somebody in person, because the nasty mess y'all be writing on TikTok is already concerning. The calling the book talk for random people is already not okay. Did we not learn from the Kiara Lewis situation of her sexually harassing that hockey player? But y'all still be in the comments. Anytime you see a man you think is attractive, ooh, book talk, somebody book talk, you could do this, give me a hairband, and in 5 minutes, I want you to talk me through it. Get a grip. Y'all have, and then it was already bad, right? Then I see another post. I've been seeing some things about what happened to people at Sinners and Stardust Ball, and I'm appalled. I'm appalled that this was allowed to happen to these people. Things I've seen include, but are not limited to, an author getting cornered, groped, and separated from friends, a man getting groped and assaulted, talking shit to authors, stalking. None of these things are okay. I'm incredibly disgusted and so sorry to the people who were assaulted, harassed, and stalked. Someone replied. One author was kissed. Someone looked under the bathroom stall while an author was inside it using the bathroom. A book reviewer walked away from her husband, and a woman went up to him and started asking him inappropriate sexual questions, and the list goes on and on. I'm so fucking baffled, and I know the women who did these things are in those spaces reading these posts right now. I hope they are found and banned from events, and charges get pressed on every single one who essayed someone. Now, I had seen the post about the bathroom, and I didn't realize that it was related to this, so I don't have a screenshot, but it was something to the effect of, I don't mind like you coming up and asking me, you know, to sign a book or something, but like, could you please not peek under a bathroom stall and then wait for me to come out and be like, oh, I knew it was you from your shoes. It was something like that. And I was like, that's fucking weird. I did not realize it was at this event. Someone then replied about something else, and I was like, what? And then I found the post. This author says, asking, do you want to see something doesn't suffice. Maybe mention the fact that you're referring to you wearing a strap on before pulling up your dress and revealing it. Because that was weird as fuck, and to be honest, I kind of froze up and didn't know how to respond. Taking accountability for not saying it made me uncomfortable in the moment and saying, oh, okay, instead, but inside I was confused. So then I found that person, Jilly Reeds, who was apparently accepted as a volunteer for Sinners and Stardust. And it was on her stories, which someone got a recording of before it was deleted, which you will see here. And again, there are places for this type of behavior. It's not here. If this is your jam, fine. If you want to be cheering on friend, doing thing friend is doing, fine. In the right space. Find your kink community and go there and do those things there. Not at a dark romance bookish space. What is actually wrong with you? She posted an apology. She said, "Here to hold myself accountable. I am deeply, deeply sorry from the bottom of my heart to anyone who I made uncomfortable or hurt at the ball. I really, truly was not thinking clearly. And I was ignorant to the fact that it could hurt someone. Something I thought was just harmless fun where a lot of others did as well would not be viewed the same way as everyone else. It will never happen again. Being human, we make mistakes and we learn from them. I promise this was a teaching moment. It was in no way me trying to be malicious, but I see that it was. I did not mean to be that person in any way, shape, or form. And I hate that I did that to anyone attending the dance. Please forgive me. I cannot say how sorry I am enough." We lost so many people from COVID. And we also lost so many brain cells in those who are still here. If you wanted to bring that, you and your friends having a kiki in your hotel room and doing whatever, okay. But to bring that to a public event that is not specifically any kind of kink event, this is still, whether it's dark romance or whatever, spicy books, smutty books, still a bookish event. I don't even know what to say. And then this is the post from Sinners and Stardust. They said, "We are endlessly grateful to every single one of you who joined us for Sinners and Stardust, those who respected the heart of this community by asking for consent and honoring personal space. Our mission with Sinners and Stardust has always been to create something rare, a space where the dark romance community can feel safe, celebrated, and free to share their love of the stories that move us most. We need to be absolutely clear. Safety, security, and consent are not just values, they are non-negotiable. No is a complete sentence. Our authors, narrators, vendors, influencers, artists, and special guests are not just names on a book cover or faces on your screen. They are people. Human beings who deserve the same dignity, safety, and respect as every attendee. They gave their time, talent, and energy to this community, and in return, we expect every single person in attendance to treat them with the respect they deserve. Moving forward, the following changes will be in place at all Sinners and Stardust events. Mask. Attendees are no longer allowed to wear full mask to any part of our event. No exceptions. Medical masks for health and safety are permitted. Entertainment. Entertainment will continue, but roaming interactive entertainers will no longer be part of the ball. Safety for our guests. Authors, narrators, vendors, their assistants, our influencers, and special guests will now have a secure, dedicated area during the ball with their own security. They may move freely between areas, but attendees are not permitted in their area under any circumstance. If an attendee is caught trying to go into their secured space, they will be immediately removed, and banned from future events. Smaller, safer events. We are decreasing the number of tickets available to ensure a more comfortable, safe, and respectful experience for everyone. These rules are not suggestions, they are expectations. Violations including harassment, non-consensual touching, photos taken without permission, invasive questions, or any behavior that makes others feel unsafe will result in immediate removal and a permanent ban from all future Sinners and Stardust hosted events. These events thrive because of passion, creativity, and community, but community cannot exist without respect. Every single attendee has a responsibility to uphold these standards. To anyone affected this weekend negatively, from the bottom of our hearts, we are truly sorry. I will work harder to gain your trust back as a safe and inclusive event. To everyone who respected boundaries and helped us uphold the spirit of this community, we're truly grateful. Your care makes all the difference, and we can't wait to welcome you to all future events. All of our love, Jen, Bethany, Joy, and Red." Amen. And see what you dum-dums did. It's always a small number of people ruining it for other people, because now there's going to be less tickets, so less people have the option to go because y'all acted a fool and don't know how to act. I really don't even know what they're... I do think people can grow and change. That's not saying that these people are some depraved individuals who cannot be in society anymore. I'm just floored.
I think this is Facebook. Someone, I think it's an author, said, "I absolutely love the dedicated area, not just for added security, but also so I can find and speak with other authors safely and freely, which was admittedly difficult with everyone being in the same area." And someone replied, "I totally understand what you're saying. As an attendee, I love going to signing events to meet the authors and other attendees, of course. But The authors are the real reason. We stand in your lines for however long, and then finally it's our turn. We get 1 to 2 minutes or so while you're signing whatever to say thank you for what you do to bring so much joy to our lives. What I see happening is 2 separate parties going on simultaneously. Authors and everyone with them, and everyone else who can be in this VIP area, and the attendees looking on, wishing to hell they could have the chance to interact with their favorite authors in this fun environment. My best memories from author events that have these type of closing out type parties is that time with authors. That is now over. No one is going to want to come out of the VIP area to mingle after this because of what has happened, but also for exactly what you said above. You've literally written what is going to happen. The behavior of the few individuals responsible for this is disgusting, and some of it warrants legal ramifications, I'm sure. The other 99% of readers with respectful intentions who would never do anything to cross those lines are the ones being punished for their actions, and that just sucks. If I attend Sinners and Stardust next year, I definitely have no interest in a higher price ticket, which I always try to get for the extra perks. But why do I need to do that? I can only meet authors at their signing table anyway, and I can do that with a lower price ticket option. And the author replied, I hear you, but respectfully, you said it yourself. You had access to the authors during the signing days, hours upon hours of it. Once the ball hits, once our jobs are over, we deserve to have a chance to relax and unwind in a safe, designated area that's free from interactions from members of the public if we choose to. Because that's the thing, authors are now freely allowed to choose when and how we interact with readers at the ball, which is a choice that was denied to us before. This way we have one. Like, it just came off as like, I'm owed. You owe me. I like your book, so I am owed your time. I am owed to have access to you. And that's gross. Grow up. So as I'm finishing editing this video, I went on Threads again, and the person who was assaulted, Animus, posted this to Threads. So I'm going to read their response. First and foremost, I want to thank the community for the overwhelming support since these incidences have been exposed. I also want to commend Sinners and Stardust for implementing a new guideline and rules to make events like these safer for everyone attending. Aside from the ball, I had an amazing time at the signing, and I'm so grateful that I got to meet all of you. I would like to make it known that I'm not comfortable pressing charges, partly because there were a lot of people involved, and because of my mask, I couldn't see very well. It's impossible to remember every one of them, and truthfully, I don't want to force myself to anyway. When I was cornered at the ball, I panicked and blacked out, so a lot of that night is a blur, and I'm still trying to process it. If I'm being honest, I felt their hands better than I could see their faces. I'm new to this world, and this was my first big event, so I'm not familiar with anyone in the community outside of my friends yet. But with that said, I do not want to put myself through any more of this by dealing with authorities and trying to remember names and faces and who did what. I just want to make music, read awesome books, and continue to help support the amazing authors in this community. As for the air tag, we were unable to find out who planted it. After the ball, I undressed for bed, and by the time I was notified the next day, we had already left the hotel. We did confirm the air tag was no longer on me or in my bag and was likely left somewhere in the room from undressing that night. All we know is based on the notification, it started tracking me when I was at the ball and surrounded by people, and it tracked me all the way to my hotel room, which was a different hotel in Boston and not the same one as the event. While this was extremely unnerving to find out, I'm glad I didn't see it until later and glad nothing further happened that night. I'm sorry if my decision is disappointing to everyone. I know you have all asked that I press charges, and I really don't want to upset any of you by not doing so. I just wanted awareness so precautions can be put in place to protect others in the future. Situations like these are far too common, and even though I am upset it happened to me, I'm just glad to know the event is taking steps to help prevent it from happening again in the future. I hope other book events can do the same so all people feel safe. For those who say that I should have set better boundaries in the moment when things happen, it brought back past trauma, which ultimately made me shut down and black out. I also didn't want anyone to feel unsafe or disrespected and wanted to make sure everyone had a good time, even if it resulted in me being the one to take the hit. I am sorry you feel that I should have done more, and I truly wish I did as well. Thank you to H.D. Carlton for being the voice when mine fell short and supporting me through this, as well as Inez, Santana, Hawk, and everyone else behind closed doors that continue to be my support when I need it the most. And I want to thank the book community again for showing up to defend me and for the incredible amount of support. I truly was not expecting it to this level, and every one of you helped restore what those of the ball stripped from me, which is my safety in this community. I am taking some time to process and heal, and I will continue to pour my heart and soul into my music. I hope more than anything this incident is not what everyone chooses to remember me by, and that one day my music will speak louder. Thank you, Animus. Hi, it's editing me here to just say that after reading that, I'm just like doubly disgusted. This is a book community, and this is how people are acting. It's disgusting. It's shameful. It's harmful. And if you've ever done something like this, don't do that shit. Don't comment inappropriate things in other people's videos. Don't film people without their consent. Don't touch them without their consent. Let's learn decorum. Actually, maybe we need a lesson on what consent is. People who are like encouraging him to press charges like that has to be, again, something that he wants to pursue. He obviously doesn't. So like, let him be and process. And to those people, you're fucking lucky he's not. And I hope y'all just have really bad days for a really long time, because you deserve it. Like the days where you leave your chapstick, your phone is on 5%, you don't have no charger. You go to reheat your food, you ain't got no microwave plate. You get a paper cut on all the fingers of your dominant writing hand. That kind of day.
I'm just floored, and I laugh at young naive Jessica of many moons ago, who used to think that everyone who read was like a well-rounded, open-minded, kind, respecting person. Because I'm like, you read stories and you learn about people, and like, we're all like, everyone who reads is just so nice and smart and like kind. Not around here. Not around here. So, once again, this is different than the first one. But there's something in the bookish convention water. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I'm like, because BookCon is coming back next year and I've never gone. And they haven't been back since, I think their last one was 2019, because obviously they canceled 2020 for COVID, and then they were like, we're done. And now they're coming back in 2026. And I want to go, but I'm like, I don't know. So, I don't even know what to say. Do you have a good bookish convention that you've been to this year? Why don't you share that? Share that in the comments, because I don't even know what to ask at this point. I'm just like, I need to get ready to go to the dentist. So thank you for watching.
I got distracted. The squishmallow made me think of Nigel, then I started breaking down, so I didn't close out the video. But stay blessed, hydrated, moisturizing sunscreen, and respect people's boundaries. Learn consent. Maybe I'll do a video on it. We've got to do better. See you in the next one. Bye.